Alright, so I had messed one of the prongs up. I'll show you a close-up picture of the prong. I can totally salvage it, but it will drive me nuts, and I know the gems can be held in by 3 prongs, and I could probably make it work. There would be enough metal to hold the gem down. But to be honest, I try my best to be a perfectionist, and it drives me nuts because this is for somebody and this is like really special to them. So I have another piece of germanium silver. What I'm going to do is I have, where's the other one? I had another band that I made as a backup because I wasn't sure how I was going to set the gems, and this one is slightly too big and I didn't have enough material. It wasn't thick enough for the gems because the gems are 3mm and this ended up being like 2.9 at the top, which just wouldn't have cut it for me, and it would have just drove me nuts. So what I'm going to do is I have this piece and I'm going to try and make a square piece out of this, shape it because I now have a ring bender, and I can shape this into the size of it, cut this piece out, put this in the exact size of the last one, recut it, and I think I can do it pretty quickly. So I'm going to try and do that, and if that doesn't come out too well, I'll start from scratch if I have to, or I could probably make that one work, just throw a bunch of rubies in it and see if I can make it work, unless, the person would be okay with only 3 prongs, which that would drive me insane. You can't even see it unless you're looking at it under a microscope, but, it's just the fact of knowing that it's for somebody. I just couldn't do that. So I'm gonna see if I can make it work with this and do it to the exact same parameters as the last one. This one will probably come out better because I'm now soldering it with the germanium silver instead of using the silver solder, which kind of, you can't really tell, but I can tell. And when you're making this kind of stuff, you want it to be, the best you can possibly make it as. So let's just get to it, make this down to the right parameters, and start by rolling it. The piece of metal I'm using for the top part of the ring started as a 5mm round piece of metal, and I have to get it down to about a 3.5mm square. If anybody would like me to cut out more of the rolling, please let me know. I'm just trying to show everything that's involved in creating what I create. If you enjoy this type of content, please subscribe because it helps YouTube get the content out to more people. I create this type of content as much as I possibly can because I absolutely love it, and there isn't very much content like this on YouTube. When you're rolling out any silver, you can usually turn the top handle about 45 degrees before you have to do another annealing. I didn't include every part of the process in every annealing because I really wanted to get this video edited and out in one day. Here I'm just measuring out where I'm going to make the cuts on that band that I have as a backup. And I was thinking about it, and I might still fix the other one by melting a big glob of metal right down where I made that accidental cut. And if I do that, I could recut the gem seat and then rebuild the prong. And I'm pretty sure I can get it to the point to where you never even notice that I made that accidental cut. Come on. Here's a good tip for any jeweler out there. If you're making a cut, use a graver and make a notch in it so it's easier to cut. This is my first time doing that and it made a world of a difference. That's a solution to that problem. This thing. It's so dirty in here. That one. Turn around, cut it way back out. Where's the other mark? There it is. There's my graver. Easiest way to start a cut. Learning something new every day.
If you'd like to help support the channel, there's a link in the description below to Patreon, and you'd be able to see the videos before they're posted on YouTube and have your name featured at the end of every video.
Piece of metal that I'm going to use for the piece where the gems are going to go. I just have to do one more annealing, and then we're going to stick it in the ring bender. And I also have to either cut off the ends or file the ends, which I think I'm going to cut the ends off. Whoops. Because I think I'm going to use the pieces. I'm either going to use the pieces I cut off or cut pieces off of the piece that I cut out to solder it together. I'm not sure yet, but this has got way more than enough material for me to work with. Because this one I did not leave myself very much material, and I was trying to make the tolerances way too close together. And the reason why I messed up is the tool I'm using, I made it literally as wide as the ring. So I'm trying to cut these prongs that are like, what, maybe 0.5 millimeters like in width, and they're probably like maybe 0.1 millimeter, no, they're probably 0.1 millimeter in width each, because it's probably about 0.2 millimeters just the two prongs. So yeah, I wasn't giving myself enough room, but it's a learning lesson. You know, the ring would have came out really good, and I can probably still finish it and sell it on eBay or something, but I can't do that to a friend of mine. And it'll still come out really, really good. So let's get this annealed, cut the ends off, solder it into the ring, and we'll go from there. Alright, now that I have the one piece pretty close to where I wanted to get it, I'm gonna take the piece that I cut out, I'm gonna straighten it out so that I know how long the piece I need to get, just to make it nice and easy instead of doing some math. And then once I get that piece long enough, I'm going to throw it in the ring bender and then cut the ends off so it's nice and clean, and then solder it in.
This is my first time using this ring bender, and it made it so much easier to get this ring put together. I noticed that the piece of metal I have was really pushing the limits of what this ring bender could do. I might actually end up mounting this to something so that it's a lot easier to bend any piece of metal that I need to bend. And here we are finally soldering these two pieces together. I was able to finagle them so they're set perfectly together. And then I sprayed some liquid flux on it and then just heated it and was able to get them to join together pretty nicely. I figured I would try and melt them together first before I tried to melt a piece of metal into it.
Alright, so even though today was a failure by me messing up one of them prongs, it's still a success because I was able to, put another ring together and get it very close to where I can start making the cuts to set the gems in that one. So it's a lesson learned. Don't use a tool way too big for the job you're doing. I'm just going to make more tools and do things the way it should be done. So I think that was my first time ever soldering something like that, making those cuts, putting two halves of a ring together. So all in all, I learned a ton today, and I hope you enjoyed watching, and I'll see you in the next one.